guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacky and I'm a knitter from Germany, and today's video is a bit overdue and I'm a bit late for this video, but I would like to share today everything I knit in 2024. Last year has been crazy. I honestly did not knit as much for myself as I wanted to. I mainly focused on test knitting and knitting for others. I discovered this when reviewing my everything I knitted last year, but I'm gonna show everything to you from January to December, and I'm only including the things I finished this year, so last year. So basically, even though I casted something on in 2024, doesn't mean that I'm going to show it today when it was not finished in 2024. So I had a few projects that I casted on in December that I haven't finished in December, so I'm not counting them. For example, my sample knit or my Mila cardigan. Okay, my Mila cardigan was finished, but I actually started frogging this after I completed it because I noticed some gauge issues again. And I decided to frog it and knit it again on a smaller needle because the yarn I got for it was a yarn from SheerLineBlouse, which is hand-dyed yarn, and I didn't want to waste the yarn when I'm not 100% happy with the finished garment. So I decided to frog that and then make a couple of gauge swatches in different sizes and really carefully look at them and measure them, and therefore see on which needle size I need to knit this garment. I discovered that many of my gauge swatches last year were not accurate enough to get the garment I wanted or the garment I needed. So 2025 is actually going to be a lot more focused on that. But anyway, before I ramble too much, I have my tablet here to actually see what garment I casted on in January, February, etc. So if I look down, I'm really sorry, but that's the only way I can, tell you everything about each project accurately without always, stop filming and edit this afterwards. So, yes, I'm definitely gonna do that. And I would say we can start now. In 2024, I'm just gonna take my statistics right here. So in 2024, I completed 15 projects. I used 74 skeins and I used 3,660 grams of yarn and 10,973 meters in total. This was my average overview of 2024, and I'm gonna show you each project right now. Starting in, actually no finished object for January. That's I didn't notice that, but in February I casted on a sample knit for Clarissa Chalong from Cozy Knits, and I sample knitted her SheerLineBlouse, and I casted this on the 15th of February, and I finished this on the 8th of March. And I'm just going to insert a picture here so you can see the garment, because I don't have that garment anymore because I, of course, had to send it back to her. And I used Knitting for Olive Merino and Soft Silk Mohair in the colorway Mushroom Rose. And I didn't knit the sample from the beginning, Like, she had the yoke completed, and then I got the sample sent to me to finish it because she hadn't had that time to finish it. And from the yoke down, like the whole body and the sleeves, I used 225 grams of merino and 125 grams of mohair. And I stated this on my Ravelry as well, even though the total garment would require more yarn, but that's only the yarn I used, so I can only give yardage on that. And I actually really enjoyed knitting this garment, but the style of garment with like the translucent mohair stripes is not really that for me. So I would not knit this pattern for myself if I would have just had the chance to. But overall, it was a great knitting experience, and I really liked knitting this pattern. The next garment I completed 2024 was a test knit for Journey Through Yarn, the lovely Rebecca. I test knitted the Irene Sweater, but not in my size. Instead, I knitted this in my mom's size, 2XL, because my mom is really into knitwear, and she likes knitted stuff. So when I knit her something, I know that it's going to be loved and worn, and proudly worn. So I asked her if she liked this kind of textured sweater, and she said yes. And I applied for size 2XL, and it was accepted. And I knitted this in the size E, actually. She has letters instead of like the normal generic XS, S, M, L. She used letters, so I tested the size E on a gauge of 21 stitches. I used 4.5 and 4mm needles, and I used Drops Charisma in the color 77 Light Oak, which is like a really oatmeal-y gray color. More gray toned actually than oatmeal-y, but I was fine with the color. And I used 575 grams of Drops Charisma. And if you would like the meterages and yardages I've used, you can always check my Ravelry. There I have all projects listed, and you can always see how much yarn exactly I used and not like only the grams. I casted this on the 22nd of February and finished it on the 9th of March. So it only took me like 2 weeks and a few days to knit a sweater in like 2XL. This is crazy. Next project, I cast it on the same day I finished the Arien Sweater test knit, and this was also a sample knit for Clarissa Shalong of Cozy Knits. And I knitted the MaineVest, which is a textured vest in, I think it's a waffle stitch pattern. Yes. And I knit this design from scratch, like from the beginning. So the sample was all my work, and every stitch on it was knitted with my hands. And I casted this on the 9th of March, and I finished it 20 days later on the 29th of March. And since this was a sample knit, I got the yarn sent to me, and this was so amazing because I had the chance to knit with Lamana, and Lamana is quite expensive if you ask me, because I knitted this in Lamana Como Grande and Lamana Premia, which is the mohair of Lamana, and one skein of any of those yarns costs around 16 euros. So the whole garment would have cost me like 200 euros. And it's not even a sweater. It was like just a vest without sleeves. And I sample knitted this in the size 3. And I used the needle sizes 4.5, 3.75, and 3.5. And I used 275 grams of Lamana Como Grande and 55 grams of La Manna Premia, both in the color curry. So it was a curry colored textured vest, and I'm not that vest or slip over person, so I don't know if I'm going to ever knit slip overs for myself, but we're gonna see in 2025 what I knit with my huge amount of stash yarn, and yeah, let's see what I do with that. The next project was also a test knit, and I test knitted the Ballard Vest by Sari Nordland, and I test knitted this in my size, which is the size 3, and I knitted this on 3.5 and 3mm needles, and I casted this on the 25th of March, and I casted this on off actually on the 14th of April. So like around 3.5 weeks for the Ballard Vest. And I used Drops Bell in the color moss green, and I used around 250 grams for this whole top, and this is just a really breathable and actually wearable top in summer, because even though Drops Bell is not a fingering weight yarn, but it's a really light wearing cotton yarn which does not feel plasticky on the skin, and I really enjoyed working this pattern, and I would definitely knit this again for myself, maybe in a smaller size to have it like more fitted, or even for someone else, because this pattern is super easy, well explained, super easy to knit up, and also quick to knit up. And yes, I really enjoyed this pattern. Next thing I completed are the Macaron Gloves by Lydia Rababa, and I actually have these ones here. I'm not gonna put in some try-on videos because I can just do it now without going completely out of frame, but for all other garments I still have in my repertoire. I'm going to blend in some try-on video so you can see how it wears. So these are the Macaron Gloves by Lydia Rababa. I knitted the size 1 on 4mm needles on a DK weight gauge, and I used knitting for olive merino and soft silk mohair in the colorway Mushroom Rose. And I modified the edge because I didn't want a rolling edge, so I just knitted one round of 1x1 rib on the thumb and fingers, and then cast it off the Italian way. And I did this on both, so they're actually not rolling up and staying in place. And yes, they're really gorgeous and I really like them, and I would definitely knit them again. And they are a great stash busting project because I only used 24 grams of merino and 12.5 grams of mohair. So whenever you have some mohair and merino or wool yarn scraps in stash, they are super great for gift knits and also, you know, busting your tiny little project scraps. Next project is also a test knit. I knit for, I don't know what's her name, but I know her Instagram page. It's I Knit Knitwear. And I test knitted the Bouclé top. I have it right here. But of course, you're gonna see try on pictures. So this is the Bouclé top. And I knitted the Bouclé top in size S, size small, with 4mm and 3.5mm needles. And I casted this on the 24th of April and casted it off 4 days later on the 28th of April. And I knitted this in Drops Melody in the color of white because I didn't have clay yarn in stash and I didn't want to order new yarn for this small little project. So I used exactly 62 grams of Drops Melody in the color of white, and I really like this top, but sadly I don't wear it that often because I don't know how to style this top, but I would love to combine this more in 2025 and the years following. So if you have any styling tips on how to style this beautiful boucle top, then of course just let me know. And yeah, I try to wear my knitwear more often. The next project I don't have with me anymore. I gifted this to a friend. This was also a test knit. I tested the Mila top by Sorry Nordland in the size 3. And I started this on the 15th of April and casted this off on the 22nd of May. This project took a bit longer because, of course, it's all cabled and every row has another cable and another twist here and there, and it was super engaging and I really had to focus on this knit. And I used We Are Knitters Pima Cotton, and I used exactly 300 grams in the color Deep Blue or Ocean Blue. No, I think it's called Deep Blue. And when it was finished, I didn't really like the color on me, and I didn't like the fit on me afterwards, so I gifted this to my friend, and I think she's wearing it regularly. I need to ask her for a photo so I can show it to you guys, but yeah, this photo right here is the only photo I have of me wearing the garment. But if I get any photos of my friend, then you're definitely going to see that garment worn by someone else. And yeah, I would not knit this again because I'm not that knitter who loves really engaging knits, even though I find the most of them really beautiful. But I prefer my stockinette in the round knitting. And I like to rush through my projects because I'm definitely a project-based and not process-based knitter. So this is definitely not something for me, and I think I would not knit this again. The next two finished objects actually were a summer set that I did for my mom, and she wore this in her holidays. I will ask her if I can share the pictures and then edit them if she said yes. And I knitted the Hemingway shorts by the Knitting Booth in the color, in the size H, and then in the color white in Drops Bell, and I used 207 grams of this yarn. And I started this on the end of May and finished it exactly 8 days later on the 7th of June. Because these shorts are DK weight, drop spell, 4mm needles on a 21 stitch gauge, mostly knitting in a round. Okay, actually the whole shorts are knitted in the round. And this pattern was so quick, super easy. You could add like your own measurements, and then the pattern tells you and explains you how to incorporate your own measurements into the existing pattern, and this was super easy. I would totally knit them again for myself and for my mom. She actually asked me already if I could make her another pair of shorts, so definitely a pattern I totally recommend. And then I knitted the Ballard Vest again, which I test knitted in spring earlier, and I knitted the size 5 for my mom in Drop Spell also in the color white. And I used 317 grams. I think it's around 6.5 skeins of Drop Spell. Yes. And she really loved this pattern. She really loved her whole fit. So we made like a little set, the Ballard Vest and the Hemingway shorts. And she was super happy. I was super happy knitting this up. And I definitely recommend both patterns to you guys. So whenever you feel like you need some summery shorts in a DK weight summer yarn, then I definitely would say You can knit the Hemingway shorts. Next, finished object I have with me, and I actually completed both socks in 3 days. So I casted this on the 22nd of July, and I casted this on off, I think, on the 23rd or 24th. And these are the socks. They're quite worn because I wear them when I go to sleep. I wear them on super cold days in my boots. And I knitted them extra high and extra long to keep a lot of my feet and my leg warm. And these are the vanilla socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. And I used Regia Schachenmeier. It's a German sock yarn, I think. And I knitted this in the color Cardamom, and I used 72 grams of this. So I have around 30, okay, not 30, like 20, 27, 28 grams of this still laying in my stash somewhere. And I knitted size 1 on like 56 stitches on 2.25 millimeter needles. And yeah, I think I'm going to wear these socks till they fall apart because I really like them. And yes, this was a really quick project. The next project is the Boden shirt crew neck. Let me see where I have it. So right here, this is the Boden shirt crew neck. It's a lace, overall lace, oversized top pattern. And this was a test knit for Kadri for the lovely Sabina. And I tested it size M, and I used La Mana Perla. I think I've gotten a yarn discount for this yarn, but I can't remember it anymore. But I think it was a yarn discount, so I had the chance to knit with La Mana Perla because it was not that expensive. And I used 235 grams of the color 00 Nature. And this is a pretty creamy white color. And I casted this on the 29th of August and finished this on the 15th of September. So it took me around 2.5, almost 3 weeks to knit this top. And during this test knit, I discovered that I'm not a big fan of lace. Or at least not this lace pattern, which is the same all over again. I don't know if I would ever knit this again. I don't know if I would knit this as a gift. Okay, no, I would not knit this again because I didn't like the knitting experience. Like, the pattern is all fine. It's super easy explained, but I don't like this kind of lace knitting. So I think I'm definitely not going to knit this again. And it's, after blocking, it just got a bit too oversized for my liking. So I'm not wearing this garment actually. I mostly just lace in my stash. So maybe I will give this garment away as well. Maybe to the same friend I gifted my Mila top. Maybe she has a use for it. But yeah, this one is just laying in my closet and I'm not even looking at it, honestly. Coming to the next project, I did another test knit. What else? I test knitted the Arien Sweater by Kadri as well, and I test knitted this in my mom's size, in size 2XL on 7mm needles. And I casted this on the 22nd of September and finished this on the 3rd of October. And I chose Drops Air for this project in the color Pink Sand. And I exactly used 273 grams for a size 2XL sweater. I'm just going to insert a picture here. My mom really loves it, but the sleeves grew so much in blocking. maybe I have to shorten them a bit and need to do some sleeve surgery and some sweater surgery on this. But yeah, my mom is overall really happy with it. Drops Air is super soft on her skin, so no itching factor, and yes, she's a lovely, kind human being, and she loves and she proudly wears the knitwear I knit her. And when people look at her sweaters too long, she says like, yes, she made it. It's handmade. You want one for yourself? So yeah, she's really proud that I'm a knitter and that I'm knitting her garments. The next project is also a test knit. I feel like everything I knit was just test knitting. That's definitely something I don't want to do this year. So I tested the Montrose Cardigan Junior by Cheryl Mokhtari of Cocoa Moore Knitwear. And this is the garment. This is a overall, yeah, I would say textured cardigan for children. I tested this in the size 4 years. 4 years? Yes, 4 years for my bigger son. And I used, let me quickly check. I used Sandnesgarn Pergint in the color navy, and I used around 300 grams of this yarn. And my son loves wearing his cardigan, but I only let him wear it when we have some family events or something, because I don't want him to ruin this cardigan, because I'm just super proud of it. And I just attached some basic black buttons. And yes, overall I'm super happy with it. And I casted this on the 1st of October and casted it off 18 days later on the 18th of October. And yeah, I'm really happy. My son is really happy, and I would definitely knit this pattern again, maybe for a gift knit for someone who's becoming a parent or is already a parent and wants a cardigan for his children. I would definitely love to knit this one. Last finished objects for 2024 is my Hebrides Hood, also a test knit, also for Cheryl Mokhtari of Cocoa Moore Knitwear, and this is the hood. And I test knitted it was actually just one size. It's a one size balaclava or hood. Is it actually the same? No, a balaclava is more like snugly to your face, and then a hood is like more oversized, very airy. And I used Drops Lima in the color Chalk, and then Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair in the color Cloud. And this made this really cool chalk beigey white colorway. And yeah, sadly this hood is really airy. I think my gauge was off on this as well, because it grew so much in blocking and it turned out super large. So maybe I should have knitted this a needle size smaller. But yeah, sadly this is super airy, so I can't really wear this as a hood because it's not warming on my head, because it's so airy that all the winds just blows through the hood and I get cold anyway. So yeah, maybe I would definitely knit this again, but I think I would definitely choose a smaller needle size, or just adapt the pattern maybe to do a size smaller or more like measurement based. But yeah, I cast this on the 28th of October, and I casted this off on the 2nd of November. So it only took me like 3 or 4 days to knit this. Crazy. The last finished object I don't have with me right now, because my son is currently in kindergarten and he has his balaclava with him. But I knit my son the Everyday Balaclava by Petite Knit in the size, let me check, 2 to 5 years. And I knitted it with Drops Daisy. Yes, Drops Daisy in the color 19 Navy Blue. And I used around 1.5 skeins of yarn, exactly 85 grams. And I knitted this on 3.5 and 3mm needles on a DK gauge, so like 21, 22 stitches on 10 centimeters, and I casted this on the 22nd of November and casted it off again 3 days later on the 25th. And my son is really happy with his balaclava. So last time he said to me, "Mom, I don't want to wear normal hats anymore. I just want your knitted balaclavas." And I was so happy to hear that. And recently we just browsed through Ravelry and Petite Knit's pattern library, and he found so many cute child sweaters and cardigans, and he said, "Mom, I need you to knit this, 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 and this for me in blue and gray and green." And I was like, okay, I'm gonna knit you your whole wardrobe. So this was really, really cool, and I really enjoy knitting for my kids. My little one is getting a balaclava as well, but he has so many warm hats that I think I'm going to knit this balaclava another time. So yeah, I think this was all. Yes, I think this was all. Yes. So if you've watched until now, thank you so much for all the feedback and likes and comments, and even the people who subscribed during the period where I was not posting videos. I did a little video pause after my Vlogmas because I was not feeling really well health-wise. I was sick all the time, and my kids were sick, and then I had the stomach flu. And during New Year's Eve, I was just laying in bed with my children, and fireworks were super loud. My kids were afraid of it, so it was basically just me comforting them the whole evening and trying to get them to sleep, which was really, really exhausting after a long time. And yeah, this year I want to focus more on selfish knits, ego knits, whatever you want to call them. I have around 20 kilos of yarn stash that needs to be knitted. Like, honestly, it needs to be knitted. So I definitely would love to do that this year. And I'm actually planning on doing a yarn stash organizing video at the end of the week, because my husband and I, we bought a new bed for our bedroom, and this actually contains like a huge storage part under the mattress. And since we don't have that much of bed laundry and pillowcases and everything, and my yarn stash is just overflowing, my husband had the idea that I actually put the yarn I'm not using currently, or yarn I have for projects in mind, but I don't want to knit like right now. I just put into the storage under our bed in like plastic bags, so it doesn't get like dirty or anything. And this was actually a really cool idea, because I still have the yarn in my apartment and I can look at it whatever I want, but it's just not overflowing our entire living room, and it has just his own space, and it can just lay there and wait for me to be knitted. So I definitely would love to knit to film this video at the end of the week when we get our bed, and then you're gonna see all my stash, everything that was not shown on Vlogmas, everything that was shown during Vlogmas. I'm just gonna repeat myself and just show every yarn, even if it's just scraps. I'm gonna show you everything I have in my stash somewhere laying. And yes, I would love to see you in the next video. And if you want to hear more from me, then definitely subscribe and activate the bell to get notified whenever I post something. And yeah, I see you in the next one. Bye!